Welcome to the Focus Lounge podcast, a space for healing, growth, faith, and honest conversations about rebuilding your life from the inside out. I'm your host, Serene Diane, and I'm so grateful you are here. Listen, this season is very personal for me. This isn't because of a podcast, it's not just because of a comeback, but it's because I finally found my voice again. Sometimes life interprets you so suddenly that you don't even realize you shift from living to simply surviving. Sometimes we fall into a place of just functioning, showing up for everybody else, and we are internally very exhausted. Sometimes God allows these interpretations not to destroy us, but to get our attention. One thing I've learned over the past few years is that life can change unexpectedly. There was a season where I was constantly moving, constantly pouring into others, handling responsibilities, building, working, functioning. And honestly, I thought I was okay. But the truth was, I was tired. I was tired to a point that I didn't even realize I needed to be healed. In 2021, my life shifted. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, chronic depression, and essential hypertension. My blood pressure was dangerously high. My blood sugar levels were extremely elevated, and I pretty much was at a point of losing my eyesight. And if I be honest, even with all this evidence, I was still in denial. I kept trying to function normally. I kept trying to push through. I kept trying to hold everything together. But eventually I realized something. Just because you're functioning doesn't mean you're healing. And I think a lot of times we dress up the outside, but we're so damaged on the inside. We keep smiling publicly, and then we end up breaking down and trying to survive in silence. What I didn't realize during that season was that God was slowing me down long enough for me to finally pay attention to myself. Sometimes we think self care is being selfish, but it's not. We have to take that time to take care of ourselves because sometimes we become so busy that we stop checking on our spirit, our emotions, our health, and even our purpose. And interpretation have a way of exposing what we've ignored for so long. For me, it forced me to confront exhaustion, fear, disappointment, and honestly, part of my life I had neglected while trying to keep going. But even in the difficult season, God never stopped covering me. Maybe that's what you're dealing with. Maybe you're listening to me right now, and what you're hearing today is that, hey, I've allowed life to interpret for me rather than trusting God to guide you and lead you. An interpretation doesn't mean God has abandoned you. Sometimes the interpretation is actually an invitation to slow you down so you can heal, so you can reset, and even realign yourself with your purpose. What I'm learning is that healing is not a weakness, rest is not failure. We don't have to be the little train that could. We don't have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing to the point of no return. But we have to acknowledge the pain that's there. And it doesn't mean that we have a lack of faith. We just have to get to a position that we're going to trust God because sometimes faith looks like finally being honest about what's hurting. So I got a challenge I would like you to do this week. What area of your life have you been surviving instead of truly healing? I want you to ask yourself, is it emotional? Is it spiritual? Is it mentally? Or is it physical? And then ask yourself, what would happen if you finally gave yourself permission to stop pretending you're okay and start healing for real? Now, before I close, I want to encourage your heart. If life has interpreted you recently, I want to encourage you to not see it only as punishment or setbacks. Sometimes God allowed these interpretations because purpose still matter. Your healing still matter, and you still matter. And just because life slows you down does not mean your story is over. Do not allow your circumstance to become your demise.